Hello and welcome to my first video of a topic like I want to be a fucking JoJo YouTuber now because I love fucking JoJo and nothing else could stop me to love this fucking JoJo genre. JoJo is just such a good fucking anime and I love it. It's like top one after JJK. That's why I talk about this topic. Which stand could beat Gojo? I don't want to get near the actual ones who could do it easily because we have some exceptions like Task 4 who should just rip through it because of its infinite energy that comes with the spin, or that Gyro has it actually to the golden spin. When you read Stable Run, you should know. Or like just something like Sovereign Red Go Beyond, or something like Wonder of You. That's the some things that I would say are like clear. That those one could bypass it because that's nothing that some. There are just the abilities are too good, likely just too complex. Have no much knowledge of the 8th part. The 7th part is like golden, that's why I know so much about the 7th part, but the 8th part is like I didn't read it all the way, I just know the abilities. And like my understanding, those few stands could actually bypass Infinity. And now we came to a I don't know thing, because there's some just exceptions that just makes up theories in my head, like Crazy Diamond. We know by JJK, if cursed energy got multiplied by itself, it creates positive energy. On positive energy, it's created to do the reversed curse technique, which creates reversed curse techniques, like red. Gojo has blue, got reversed, blue just puts everything in itself, and red repels everything. That means that when we know that curse techniques can get reversed, and Infinity is also a curse technique, which is Gojo blessed by, that when you got the one thing, curse technique, when you get, that, we can go make a thing out of this. Because when Crazy Diamond repairs something, there must have been something that got lost. And when Crazy Diamond tries to get touched by when Crazy Diamond would try touch Infinity, it would get in contact with cursed energy. It was stated by the manga of JJK that Gojo's Infinity has an output like near zero cursed energy, but was never stated that it is zero. Why that's so important? Because there is something that gets lost which Crazy Diamond came in contact with, but it's because the output is so low, and Josuke would put so much back into it that it's like a multiplier, which should reverse Infinity. And there's two possibilities that could happen with Infinity. First of all, like we've seen with blue and red. Red is like Infinity, it repels. It does. Infinity does not only repel, it does a similar thing, but it has the same motion, I would say. That means you got red. When you reverse it, it should like be blue, like how blue works. That everything goes inside of him. That means one thing, when that Infinity should work like when you get to it, you should be faster, because that would actually just reverse the effects of Infinity. But also it would just like crush Gojo inside. It would just put him in a space where everything gets pulled in, and he's the middle. He's in the middle of it, and we know that cursed energy doesn't. Everything that comes as an attack of you could hate yourself, just like the black hole of Yuki did, because Yuki did a black hole, but she died of it. She doesn't live after it because it's her techniques on because she died actually because her curse energy could harm herself, and that's the same thing with Gojo. But even if he would get crushed, I think reverse curse technique would actually save his ass. But it would bypass Infinity, because if you don't get slowed down anymore and would be actually faster, it's not that hard to beat a Gojo anymore. Gojo is such a tough enemy because of Infinity. That's the sole problem I have with that. And also, we have something like King Crimson. That's because the ability is too complex, much people doesn't know things. And there comes my understanding of King Crimson abilities in. Because I think that King Crimson abilities actually work in such a way that it erases time, and that you could forcefully, you don't need to do 10 seconds, but you can, and you can forcefully say, I do only 5 seconds of skipping time, and just like that. Because if you skip time 6 seconds and actually hurt somebody after the 6 seconds, and then say you want to skip 4 seconds again, it's just like the gap. That's something you remember the attack, but not the after effects of it, because this time was skipped. Remember that, how I'm saying that. But that doesn't mean that abilities doesn't work anymore. We've seen with Gojo, with not Gojo, with I don't remember his name anymore, but with with Jono's blood thing, he did hurt himself to look if someone skipped time, and that's how he figured out that Diavolo was moving. That means if you're going to have an ability that works passively, just like Gojo did after the hidden inventory arc in JJK, it doesn't affect him anymore. It couldn't bypass Infinity. It could bypass hidden inventory arc Gojo, because there was Infinity not working passively, and it would, because he just couldn't remember what there happened, he wouldn't have turned Infinity on, because it's something where his instincts kicks in. If his instincts could actually react to King Crimson, that would something he could protect himself. But an after hidden inventory Gojo would always work against King Crimson, and I hate the argument that stands can only touch stand users, or that stands doesn't have matter, because they do, and we saw it. Because if they doesn't have matter, they just could lift up mountains with ease, and that's not a thing that is like that in JoJo. Also, a case that I would bring up is Pucci and his universe reset. Because if Pucci reverses the universe with Made in Heaven, it's called Made in Heaven, it should reset the universe to a point, because he can always choose a point where he wants to jump in, where Gojo couldn't use Infinity. He wasn't using Infinity, and we know, because the manga stated that Gojo doesn't always use Infinity passively, but he has 90% of the time it on, because it's some sort of ways he knows where some things are like protected. And even if a pre-inventory, if a baby Gojo, or actually Shinjuku Showdown Gojo, I think, but in this time period he always had Infinity on. Actually not, because Yuji tapped him on the shoulder. Actually, he didn't have always Infinity on. He could just go in that time, go with fucking insanely speed and blitz Gojo, because Gojo can't react to light speed. He would just evaporate, like this would just kill him. Like he always said to Toji, you should have gone to cut off my head, because if you cut off his head, his RCT doesn't work anymore, and Gojo away. Now we have a thing which I think is a hard case, because how fiction is written, because we know that everything that comes near, everything that has a matter, near against Gojo gets stopped by Infinity. So, but in a frozen time, not only time is frozen, but like how Dio showed, something he thrown, has thrown, just has a little bit of a timer, I would say, that should stop the knife in place. It doesn't stop like this after Dio let go of it, but it has like gone a little bit and then it stopped. Like that you can prevent the attack, because if you saw a knife flowing around and after the time stop you couldn't just catch it or something like that, Jotaro had an easy chance against Dio, but that isn't how the world works. But does it mean that because it doesn't have because the room gets manipulated also, that Gojo's Infinity doesn't work, because the time is standing still, and something that's standing still can something be slowed down by. That means if you don't have plot armor, just like Jotaro did, because they have the same stand type in part 3, we weren't able with any of some special abilities that you have to bypass Infinity. It would just likely be that you bypass the world, that you actually could use Infinity. If Gojo could move in time stop, he would fucking obliterated Dio, but with time stop that doesn't that easy anymore, because something which moves in stop time is something that like he teleports, and something that teleports, it's for real, just like you are matter, you are a person, the matter you are, it's just one point you are, and the next second, without the way that you should go there, as you go to the place, like just if you would teleport from Germany, Hamburg to Japan, Tokyo, it would just like work to it that you don't travel the way, but you did actually just be in that place. You're just standing there, and that would likely not so easy for Infinity to slow down something that just just appears in front of you. It doesn't work. And also I think if Gojo are not standing 200 kilometers away from Dio, that Dio could get in 11 seconds to kill him. Or even Jotaro could in part 4, and we also know that he didn't use often time stop. It's not that hard, I would say. Which stands we have left? Like Vanilla Ice, I want to talk about Vanilla Ice all, because Vanilla Ice is a rare case of how the ability works, because the ability is like how I remember it, that it just erases everything. We doesn't get something like a dead body of I guess after the fight against Vanilla Ice, we just saw that his rest disappeared, and that's the thing I want to say, because actually Gojo has a technique that works just like the same way, just like it erases fucking matter, and that means if, like I said, Hollow Purple could hurt himself, all his techniques could hurt himself, and because Hollow Purple works the same way, I think that Hollow Purple would erase the cursed energy, which also is matter manifested into a form. It should erase this cursed energy too. That means that by Infinity should get cancelled out, because it gets erased. That's when we talking about erase, we couldn't forget one stand, and that's Okuyasu's stand, the hand. The only problem I have with the handle is likely there's no space you could erase, because it erases space. It doesn't erase cursed energy, it erases space, a thing between, not simple matter, just space. That's why Okuyasu could go near something, because he erased space between him and the air, and pulls him further around. I know the hunt is like a complicated stand, but that's my understanding of it. Everything I say is beyond my understanding. If someone knew better, please comment it, or just like Also, some things that I could do better next video is alright. Next video I think I will talk about Blue Lock because I have some things to say. You see, Kaiser is actually standing there. That's like how I want to present myself because I don't have any face cam right now. But let's go further on with the topic. And I just thought in my head which stand could actually also defeat Satoru Gojo, and then something popped in my mind. Wonder if you couldn't kill Gojo. I know I said in the beginning that would be an obvious pick, but I don't want to talk about it. But Infinity is an ability where you can expand it. It's just like you can stand on the air and nothing can kill close to you. That also means that anything, if you want to get, you want to harm Wonder of You, because Wonder of You, the stand itself, couldn't bypass Infinity, but the most people think the ability can, but it couldn't, because if you have hatred or just thinking of to hurt Wonder of You, just shit goes down. You just get a plane into yourself crashed. But you know, even that's the point I want to make. How could something hurt Satoru Gojo if he doesn't even stand on the ground? If the only thing he has to stand on is his own Infinity. That means if Gojo would stand on the ground, like nothing could, even then nothing could hurt him, because Infinity just slows down everything, every matter. That means he could even save a fucking plane if it would crash into him. That's the point I want to make. Wonder if you couldn't. Everything says, yo, he could, but no, he couldn't, because there's something that could hurt him. If you can get hurt, Wonder of You is the worst possible enemy you could have, because if you just want to fight him, just want to punch in his face, the Calamity just goes down. But how would Calamity work if nothing even can go through something, if nothing can get hurt? That's the point I want to make, that's the thinking I have, because Wonder of You can't just go and punch Gojo. Only because Calamity is activated doesn't mean that Infinity does get deactivated. That's why I think that Gojo could just standing on his Infinity, hollow purple Wonder of You, and everything would be fine. It's just like something would go beyond, and why that actually is an attack which could hit him is because Wonder of You has like a self-protecting thing. It just prevents everything that happens to him in such a way that it actually can't hit him. That's why all the attacks of Soft and Wet were not hitting him, but Soft and Wet go beyond, because that's attack that doesn't exist, and something that doesn't exist couldn't get stopped by something, because it isn't even matter. It couldn't be stopped. That's why Soft and Wet Go Beyond could actually kill this motherfucker. So I would say that we are actually on every case close. If I should make part 2 to explain why some stands couldn't beat him, or some stands could actually, because I actually brought up the Wonder of You topic. Tell in the comments, please, just if the video has liked you, if you want to talk about that, I want to talk more about JoJo and JJK, because I'm like really into that thing. Because I just want, also I would love to make another video because of why Yuji could beat Gojo, because that's the thing that I believe, and I believe it because the manga has stated some points, or like just how Shinjuku Yuji's abilities work could show me that. But I don't want to get lost. 20 minutes is the video long, and I just want to thank you if you were watching here. Please subscribe. I know I'm just a little German kid. Kid, it's hard to say, but something like that. And I would love the appreciation, because I want to make better videos. I want to learn better English. I'm not that very good of an English speaker, like I don't know, you know, Ohne Pixel. Ohne Pixel is also a German, but he just talks English in the streams, and he is like more international, and more international people know about Ohne Pixel because he decided to speak English. But yeah, there are some that I think we talked about every stand, and some simple things I want to say is no, Kira couldn't, because Kira is just a thing. When he touches something, he could adjust the bomb, but the bomb is also matter. That means the bomb, if it explodes, would get slowed down. It doesn't even reach Gojo. So simple like that. You can also make the thing like sticky fingers. You would come closer to Gojo, but if you couldn't move anymore, even sticky fingers couldn't just bring you closer to Gojo, because it's not even a dimension you could cross, because or matter that you could cross, because it's just something that slows down matter. It doesn't work. You would just go through Gojo. You would just go through Gojo. Sticky fingers you should have reached Gojo to apply his zip thing that he has there and do like Gojo extra damage, because he can't. Makes it pretty obvious that he couldn't touch Gojo or bypass Infinity, because it doesn't work like that. Yeah, that was everything to say. Like I said, thank you for watching. Please subscribe, and if you likely agree with my opinion or just like how I talked about this topic, please consider liking this video. I know I'm a small little guy, but I would really appreciate it, and it would just give me motivation to make more like this, because I love to talk about some topics that aren't like understand it much.